Alright, guys, it has been around 34 years ever since the shooting of the Cleveland Elementary School. So, as you may know about this actually happened in Stockton, in California, in the United States, where Patrick Purdy, who was the extended criminal, shot and killed five Southeast Asian refugees from Cambodia and Vietnam. So eventually there was another school shooting in San Diego, California, which was the Grover Cleveland Elementary. So actually this place apparently took 33 years ago, on January 17th, 1989, just after 13 days after Junko Furuta's death, and the third anniversary of Phil Lynott, which I do believe both of them died on the same day, but on a different year. So eventually, on Tuesday, January 17th, 1989, an anonymous person actually phoned the Stockton Police Department. It was actually a threat. And then the perpetrator, who was Patrick Edward Purdy, who was born on November 10th, 1964. He was apparently the perpetrator that killed 5 students who are Asians. Like why? Why would they do that? Anyways, let me continue. So at noon, Patrick Purdy actually went to the school playground. He began firing this semi-automatic rifle. He fired 106 rounds, killing the 5 children and wounding 30 others, including 1 teacher. So apparently I was correct, because these children are actually Cambodian and Vietnamese immigrants. So Purdy actually did commit suicide after that. He became an alcoholic and drug addictor. So apparently what I was gonna say is that Purdy's father did get killed and struck by a car back in 1981. But Purdy was actually arrested at the age of 15 for a court violation. But however, when Purdy actually shot many students and injured the others, he began to shoot himself in the head, and he died instantly. He was only 24 years old at that time, almost 25 to be the exact. So the victim fatalities are Ratanan Orr, who was 9 years old, Ram Chun, age 8 years old, Soktam An, who's 6 years old, Oliam Lim, who was 8 years old as well, same age as Ram Chun, and Tui Chang, who was 6 years old. Now what I was going to say is that these children are actually elementary school children. I can't believe this thing would happen. Man, when will these guys really stop hating Asians? It's definitely bad, but I'm not really going to show the video to you guys because it is scary and I do not want to get myself into serious trouble, okay? Anyways, guys, let me continue this one. So eventually, Patrick Purdy was actually the one shooting students. He also had this criminal history of trying to kill someone. Now what I was gonna say is that Ratanan Orr was actually from Cambodia, Ranchun from Cambodia, Sokkum An from Cambodia, Oliam Lin from Cambodia as well, except for Chui Trang, who is actually Vietnamese. Not to be confused with Chui Trang, actually, who was the Power Ranger from the Power Ranger franchise. Not to be confused with Chui Trang, okay guys? Don't get confused. Chui Trang and Chui Tran are not different because they're different because this one doesn't have a G, this one doesn't have an A, So Chui Tran was actually the student from the Stockton Elementary School. So eventually 32 students were actually injured. So in my opinion, I would just say the students were actually in elementary school, which I do believe it's in 1st or 2nd grade. Why would he do that? He shouldn't have gotten himself arrested, and I cannot believe what he's done, So what I was gonna say is that during the Cleveland Elementary School, Purdy apparently attempted to kill kill a lot of students, but he only attempted to kill Asians, you know? Now what I was gonna say is that 5 children were killed in the schoolyard that were remembered at the elementary and the memorial service. So basically both of these students were actually slain. The man actually did committed suicide after the attack. Now what I was gonna say is that this white man definitely did shoot a lot of people. He apparently did have like that kind of thing to do something like that. So it was it was in the afternoon when the second grader student Sam Lin apparently waited for his turn to try the tetherball. It was a sunny day afternoon time, and Lin and his fellow classmates tried to get into last minute fun before heading back to their studies. There was a sound, firecrackers or a well-dodged dodgeball. It was Patrick Beauty firing off with a semi-automatic rifle at them. Sam Lin some students managed to run to safety, and they were gunned down by Purdy's case of sprays. He shot 7-year-old Lin 3 times, but he miraculously survived. The 39-year-old still remembers the incident that really happened to a lot of students. He was crawling on the floor, trying to open doors, until the teacher rather scooped him up and saved his life. But Beauty actually did murder 5 children, apparently. It was so sad. He wounded 29 others before killing himself, you know? It's the same thing that happened to Dylan Klebold and Eric as well, you know? Both of them did kill a lot of students before committing suicide. I mean, the Columbine High School massacre where Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris just tries to kill people. Like, why? Why would they do that, you know? It was like really, really sad. So eventually what I was gonna say is that Sokum An had died a few years later, and then there was actually like Buddhist priests like praying for her. Now I'm not really gonna show you the pictures because it's definitely the one gonna be really graphic. So this one's the body of like the gunman. No, don't get me wrong guys, I'm never gonna show the pictures to you, but I'm just gonna do like what's in there, you know? Now what I was gonna say is that 33 years ago, these students who were refugees from Cambodia and Vietnam were actually shot fatally by a gunman. So apparently the 5 students were killed and 30 people were injured. One of the students were playing kickball before she was killed. So eventually what I was gonna say is that we don't know who was actually the student, but I can really say that it was actually someone, you know? Now what I was gonna say is that these kind of things, they're scary. And you know what? People who definitely do not like Asians, they just do this. Like, why? Why would they do that? It's really sad. Now what I was gonna say is that yes, it is sad to see a person getting killed. But eventually what I was gonna say is that these kinds of things seriously need to stop in America, you know? Now don't get me wrong guys, don't give me a copyright strike. And also guys, I'm so sorry if I told you this kind of story because, you know, I actually did see an Instagram post saying that Asians with attitude. So eventually if you go to the Instagram page, you can find out about this information. But for right now, let me just tell you about this. Okay? So Ramchun was born on the 23rd of August 1982 in Cambodia. Unfortunately for that, she died on the 17th of January 1989 at just 6 years old. She was like the first grader if I'm not mistaken. I know it's elementary school, but definitely guys, there's actually these kinds of like memorial pictures. And also, fun fact, guys, my grandmother actually was born on January 17th, which means she actually did turn 48 in 1989. This was the day the kids were all killed. The 5 kids were definitely slain at school. The gunman did kill himself at some point. You know? So guys, there was a mistake on the newspaper saying that Patrick Pewdie was actually 27 years old. But I found out he was actually 24, so just ignore the mistake, okay? So eventually the 2 yellow robe priests from the Cambodian community just stood there before the chant in the Cambodian accent, you know? Now what I was gonna say is that Ranchan and Sokum An was actually the youngest victims of the Stockton Cleveland school, you know. And Randana Orr was actually the oldest of the school, you know. He was the oldest. It was really scary. It was sad, you know. Now eventually, I don't want to go into more details right now because, you know, I don't want to scare people, guys. I'm so sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Especially to those people who do live in the Southeast Asian countries. What I was gonna say is that I'm so sorry for scaring you guys. No, it's not my fault, but definitely I know that I don't want to go into too much of little bit of detailed information. Please don't give me another community guidelines and another strike on YouTube, guys, okay? I'm not showing these videos because these are copyrighted, but I'm only gonna read it from the Wikipedia, which is okay. I never got anything like that. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to say for now, and this is me, Wheeling the Tomboy Gamer, signing off.